Hi and Assalamualaikum. Today we would like to present case study of Polaroid. So before that, I would like to introduce my team members. Nur Syafiqah binti Abdullah, Nur Eliana Natasha binti Idrus, Nur Syafiqah binti Aziz, Nurin Natasha binti Mazlan, and Nur Fatina Nafisa binti Roslan.
Introduction of the company. In 1937, the Polaroid Corporation was incorporated by American scientist and inventor Edwin H. Land, and he also acted as the CEO of the company for several decades. In 1939, Polaroid used technology polarizer to create all imaginable products that includes Polaroid 3D glasses, ski Google. The first Polaroid lens camera was in 1948 after Land's daughter asked him why she could not see her picture. While in 1960, Polaroid had introduced Polar Color and Model 100 lens camera, the first instant color film and the first fully automatic PET film. In 1972, the Polaroid started to release the Polaroid SS70, and this is one of the most popular camera of the Model 100 lens camera. In 1980, Polaroid facing a long decline that leads to bankruptcy in 2001. And also during this year, Polaroid tries to put new technology to its product. In 1990, the Polaroid instant photo have shifted into disposable camera. The Polaroid has declared its bankruptcy in October 2001, and this forced Polaroid to stop making instant film in February 2008. This is because Polaroid has been into so many debts since 1988 when implement ESOP and issued preference share in order to prevent Shamrock Holding from take over the company. The latest design of Polaroid instant camera was revealed in 2017, where Polaroid does some refresh look to its original Polaroid for their 80th anniversary. Summary of Polaroid case study. In year 1980s, Polaroid facing so many difficulties which are low profit of the company, carries so many debt, and conflict between Polaroid and Eastman Kodak on patent infringement. Due to the reason, Shamrock Holdings see this as an opportunity to take over Polaroid. This led to the creation of ESOP in order to fight off a takeover by Shamrock Holdings. Okay, let's proceed with issues of Polaroid. There are three main corporate governance issues that arise within Polaroid corporations. The first issue is directors did not practice duties and responsibilities. This can be seen clearly when the directors were both misinformed and uninformed of the material facts relating to their company decisions because they do not been providing any written materials prior to the meeting, and the board simply accepted this argument without subjecting it to any independent or expert examination. Next, the plaintiffs argued that insufficient timing of special board meeting was held. This is where the board special meeting on July 12 to consider comprehensive business plan was called less than 1 week notice. The plaintiff also argued that the directors did not undertake the analysis required when the board is reacting to take over trade.
The next issue that we have found is the conflict of interest between management and board of director when the employee of representative strongly against, but the directors still decide to enlarge the ESOP. The last issue is about the director did not act the best interest of the shareholder when the share price of stock sold to ESOP with the price was unreasonably low. Now we move to the discussion question and discussion objective. The first discussion question is to highlight what is the responsibility and effectiveness of the director in order to achieve the objective and goals of the company. Second, how to promote a good relationship between the management and board of director. And last, what the theory can be related in order for the director to act the best interest of the shareholder. For the discussion objective, we want to identify the responsible and effectiveness of the director. Second, to reinforce the mutual trust between the board of directors and the management. And last, to identify the behavior of the director, whether it's aligned with the best interest of the shareholder.
So we move to the first part of literature review, which is I'm going to highlight with you guys about the duties of director. So a director have three categories duties. First is fiduciary duties. Second is duties of care, skills and diligence. And last but not least is statutory duties. So in order to director to act in the bona fide, in MCCG 2017 1.1 stated that a director with a senior management need to have and promote a good corporate governance, comply with the ethics, prudent, and also have a good professional behaviors. And in order to director to duties of care, skills, and diligence, is stated in section 213, subsection 2 in Company Act 2016, whereby a director shall exercise their duties in care, skills, and also diligence with the skill, knowledge, and also their experience in order to act and also to act their responsibility as a director. And last but not least is statutory duties. So I'm going to highlight with you guys about the general duties to make a disclosure. So according to paragraph 15.04 of Bursa Securities listing requirement, stated that a listed issuer must ensure that a director has the right to the resources, meaning that a director needs to have all the necessary information to enable them to perform his duty, which is to make a disclosure.
Okay, so based on the case study, Polaroid failed to disclose any information regarding the decision made to their shareholder about ESOP. So what is ESOP? ESOP is the employee stock ownership plan that consists of the employee benefits schemes from buying the stocks supplied by the company. The director also did not undertake the analysis required when the board should have made a decision, but they actually react toward the takeover of the trades. It means that even though the director have the may act in the honesty or belief in the benefit of the company, the director is still liable to promote or exercise their power for a collateral purpose according to section 213 subsection 1 of Company Act. The director also did not question regarding the price of management conclusion and recommendation to triple the size of the ESOP. In fact, the director also approved the ESOP without having any full understanding about the motive or the objective of implementation of ESOP in the first place. Because we can see in the common law, a director owns a duty of care for the company. They actually must take care in his affair of the company as he should reasonably to take his own affair according to section 213 subsection 2 of Company Act. There is also that the implementation of the ESOP is in improper way because the director did not receive any proper reading material regarding ESOP during the meeting. And a special board meeting on July 12 also considered that as a comprehensive business plan, and it was called for less than 1 week, which is less than 7 days. So the proper procedure during meetings such as preparing the reading materials is essential according to MCCG 1.5. The director also have their rights in order to gain knowledge or information or resources in order to perform their duty as stated under Bursa Security Listing Requirement paragraph 15.04.
So next is board and management relationship. So board and management must have a good relationship. it is to avoid the conflict arise between board and also management. So according to the Bursa Malaysia Code of Conduct and Ethics for Director, 4.1 stated that the director should avoid the conflict of interest as far as they can. And according to MCCG 2007, 3.1 also stated that the board need to establish the code of conduct and ethic. It is to articulate the acceptable practice and as the guidance to control the behaviours of the employees, directors, and also the management. And last but not least, according to the MCCG 11.1, stated that a dialogue is necessary to all the stakeholders. It is to ensure that we know in the company what stakeholders is concerned.
So how to promote a good relationship between director and the management? Based on the case study, the employee representative group strongly opposed the use of pay cut in ESOP procedure and had proposed alternative funding sources to the director, but the director still did not want to proceed and want to proceed with the ESOP but enlarge the ESOP itself. And the director also did not want the employees to read the new ESOP and pay cuts in their holiday newspaper at first, but after that, the employee did not share the news after they hear about it. As there is two employee representatives have agreed according to 5% pay cut because it will impact the financial on employees itself. So, in these cases, the director actually should promote a good relationship with the stakeholder by taking a consideration regarding stakeholder opinion according to MCCG 11.1. Even though the motive of ESOP itself is towards a takeover the tricks, still the director need to avoid any conflict of interest as far as they can, as stated under 4.1 of Bursa Malaysia Code of Conduct and Ethics and 3.1 of MCCG.
Last but not least is stewardship theory. So before that, I'm going to tell you guys about the 6 theoretical aspects in corporate governance. So first is agency theory, second is stakeholder theory, third is transaction cost theory, fourth is stewardship theory, fifth is resource dependency theory, and last but not least is managerial hegemony. So the theory that can be related in order to the director to act in the best interest of the shareholders is stewardship theory. So under the stewardship theory, the company executive need to protect the best interest for the owner or the shareholders, and need to make a good decision on behalf of them. And because of the director need to act in the best interest of the owner or shareholders, according to the MCCG 1.1 stated that the director will review, challenge, and decide on the management proposal for the company. And also, they need to monitor the implementation by management because it's one of their fiduciary duties.
Okay, so based on this case study given, the director did not fulfill the best interest of the shareholder because the recapitalization plan was adopted to thwart Shamrock's takeover and not with any valid business purposes in mind. In fact, there is the meeting between the Management Executive Committee that consists of Polaroid senior management on special Sunday morning to discuss regarding Shamrock's overture. The director also did not include the shareholder in the meeting regarding the issue of takeover trees, where the Polaroid management and the board of directors faced a conflict of interest, which is omnipresent spectre. Other than that, when Shamrock requests the meeting with the Polaroid to establish the good relationship with the company, actually, both of them agree, but the meeting was never held. So, we can see that the stewardship theory can be adopted as to reduce the size of distrustism and promote cultural purpose in the company.
The judge had gave decision as a solution for the Polaroid company. Firstly, the duties of director. The Delaware courts have introduced business judgment standard for takeover situations. The director must show that they had a reasonable grounds for believing that a danger to a corporate policy and effectiveness existed. This is to ensure that the director made decisions on the behalf of the company and not for their own interests. Secondly is board and management relationship. Judge Berger concluded that it would be unlikely to affect the performance, even though the 14% ESOP was not very common with the employees. In addition, the ESOP cost will not be harmful to the capacity of the business to operate, meaning here the ESOP will not give the bad effect towards the company operation, and this is the way to avoid the takeover trade by the Shamrock. As a conclusion, Polaroid should implement stewardship theory, which is to act in the best interest of the shareholder. Shareholder is the owner of the company, and the board act on the behalf of the company. Hence, the act must be aligned with the shareholder. At first, the judge doubted the process, but after the statement had been made, the judge accepted and think it is fair for the decision made and it does not affect the other shareholder. Shamrock calling off its proxy fight to the Polaroid after 1 year. As a result, Polaroid agreed to repay Shamrock's expense to the tune of $20 million, as well as buy $5 million in advertising time on Shamrock's radio and TV station. In return, Shamrock agreed not to seek control of the company for a period of 10 years.